Welcome back to Cultivating Resilience. Feeling connected to our purpose is key to career fulfillment. Today, we're talking about navigating your career with intention. We'll explore how aligning values, cultivating resilience, and embracing growth can lead to lasting career satisfaction. Maggie, thank you so much for being here with us today. Tell me a little bit about, is it just a job or is it a career? And should I find joy in that?
I feel like we spend so much time at work that it's such a big part of how we're spending our energy, giving our energy, and also what we're getting back, that it makes a lot of sense that we want that to feel like it's purposeful, it has meaning, that it adds to my resilience and wellness rather than depleting it. So I think it's so important.
How would I know if my career path is one that is aligned with really where my soul is aching to be?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we talk a lot about is an alignment of values. If like the work that I'm doing matches with like what I think is important in the world, the way that it's important to walk through the world, like that feels really good. When those things are not in alignment, it's really hard to feel good about the work that you're doing, feel like it's part of your purpose, part of your mission, like that connected to your soul piece. But when those things are in alignment, it is that like, this is what I'm here to do.
Yeah, so it's almost like this energy or passion that we'd feel connected to the work.
Yeah, I think it can, instead of just taking our energy, it gives us energy too. Sometimes when you go to work, you're like, this is exciting. This is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm meant to be doing in the world. Versus like having a job where you're just like, this is taking everything from me and I'm not getting anything back.
Yeah. What if you're many decades through your career and realize like I am not fulfilled? Are there other ways as a professional that I can find that fulfillment outside of the 8 to 5?
I think one of the things that ways we find fulfillment is by growth, is by like stretching and growing. And sometimes maybe it's like what I'm doing right now isn't quite it, or it's not quite matching up. But how do I start to like increase my skill set or increase my knowledge base or increase some of the things that I'm capable of doing by learning new skills, learning new ways of engaging or of walking through our field or walking through our work, because that often opens doors for us that maybe weren't open before. So some of that is like going out and just growing and stretching.
What I hear you was talking about is this concept, I think, of like growth mindset. And what I hear you saying is that if I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm stretching myself, I may find additional things I'm really passionate about and ways to integrate it into my daily work.
Yeah. And one of the things that we know about a growth mindset is that the more that we grow, the more that we learn, the more capable we feel, the more that we feel like accomplished. And that sense of accomplishment and that sense of capable really helps grow our resilience as well.
And I'm guessing, does that help me combat even my own stress? Like these things that you're talking about, I'm guessing these are the things that help me feel well in the world.
Yeah, it absolutely is a way to combat burnout. When we're like doing and learning things that are new and exciting and help our brain like feel challenged, but also accomplished, that does kind of fight that burnout piece, where burnout is like this, nothing's changing, nothing's getting better. I don't have a way to make this better. But when you're learning new skills, you are building new ways to make things better.
Okay, because I'm guessing when you say burnout's not a great feeling. It's not something that fosters creativity or resilience. How would I know if I'm feeling burnt out as a professional?
I think there's a lot of like drain. If you ever just feel like I'm so drained, nothing is making me feel better. I think a lot of times that's what burnout is like some of the things that I would typically do to feel better aren't working anymore. And I think that's a pretty good sign of like, oh, I might be at a place of burnout right now.
And so one of the things you talked about of overcoming burnout or trying to mitigate burnout is that growth mindset. Are there other strategies or ideas as a professional that I can integrate to help me with that feeling of burnout?
I think one of the things that we really have to pay attention to is like a set of boundaries. Like where does work stop and where does like the rest of my life begin? And being able to kind of like clearly state those boundaries, clearly state those limits, having a really good understanding of what are my expectations in this role, asking a lot of questions, I think can help combat burnout of like, is this expected of me, or is this something that it's just out there for me to take if I want to take it, but I don't have to take it. It's not part of my role. And then allow me to like make a choice around that. I think also just like being really upfront with the people around you, like, what do I need right now? How well am I? Especially when you're working with a team, a lot of burnout can be kind of prevented or cared for by the people that you're working with if you're really honest and upfront of like, hey, I'm not my best self right now.
Yeah, so those workplace relationships probably matter a lot.
So much.
Tell me a little bit about how I know it might just be time for me to move into the next career, the next job. If I love what I do, but maybe it is the surroundings or my leader or the people I work with, what would be an indicator that, I'm ready for the next chapter?
I think one of the things that can be really helpful is asking the people who know you best, like, what do you think how I feel about work right now? What do you get from me when I talk about work? Does it feel like I'm in a good place or does it feel like I'm not in a good place? Sometimes we need to like step outside of ourselves to get feedback around that. But I also think sometimes it's like, are you bored? Are you like listening to yourself and saying like, what am I wanting right now? Sometimes it's sitting in reflection, doing some journaling, doing some meditation, having some mindfulness to pay attention to what are the cues that my body and my brain and my soul is giving me about how I feel about work.
Yeah. And I'm guessing part of this is then cultivating that awareness of maybe I'm lacking some meaning or purpose here, but maybe I could volunteer and maybe my work is okay with me leaving for an hour, or I could sit on a board, or I could do things that are connected to my passions while still doing the daily tasks of work.
Yeah, there's so many of us that maybe like work is not our whole passion, but it's really like, do I have that passion fed someplace else? For some of us, maybe work is just really like, I do this job because I'm good at it and it pays the bills and that's what I feel good about. But I have this passion thing that lives over here. Some of us are really lucky and the passion lives at work and that's wonderful. But that doesn't have to be true for everybody. As long as you have your passions fed, I think sometimes people can say, this is my job. I'm good at it. I like it. It pays the bills. But I have this thing that I volunteer for, I give my time to over here. And I just love it so much.
Oh my goodness, Maggie. Such helpful thoughts, ideas, tips, and tricks. Your career path is unique, and growth often comes from challenges. Let's keep building resilience and finding balance, one day at a time.